Hello, I'm Michael Wybrow, and in this video I'm going to go through the weekly topics that we cover in FIT 3178. So this is an overview of the unit. As we talked about in the previous video, the first 6 weeks cover the really key parts that are going to be common to almost every iOS application. And then in the later weeks, we start getting into things like maps, geolocation, images, video, sensors, charts, scroll views, um, you know, third-party libraries, local notifications that will be relevant to some of you, but not all of you. In the very last weeks, we cover things like accessibility, localization, and publishing of apps, which are not things we expect you to be doing as part of your final assignment apps, but are nevertheless useful and important things to be doing if you were to release an app on the App Store. So this week we've talked about what we'll be doing. We'll be, via the lab exercise, giving an introduction to the Xcode development platform, and the lab exercise will be creating a simple Hello World iOS app. For week 2, we look at the model view controller design pattern and how it works in iOS. We show how we can work with storyboards, which are a mechanism for handling navigation and interface design in Xcode. And we create our first multi-screen application and transitions. We see how we can pass information between them, and we work with a couple of navigation components. And we also start talking about protocols and delegation, and we build a multi-screen app. In week 3, we understand a little bit of the history of iOS user interfaces. We talk about Apple's design guidelines, and we demonstrate how you can use table views and some other forms of view controllers. And here you'll build a multi-screen app with table views and delegates. In week 4, we look at how to persist user data and different approaches that are available to us. For core data, which is a key one of these provided by Apple, we see how to set it up, define objects, add and remove objects, and fetch data, and then how we can use this with table views. And the lab exercise is to convert the previous week's app to use core data. In week 5, we look at web services, and particularly using JSON and how we can communicate with online AIs, and we create an app that gets book data from an online API. In week 6, we cover the Firebase cloud platform, which is Google's toolkit that we can use in mobile apps and also in other places like websites. We look at the Firestore NoSQL database and how we can use it. We cover authentication so that you can have your app sign in with an email account or a Google, Facebook, or other techniques. And we look at Firebase storage, which is how you can store online files in the cloud and retrieve them as part of your app or upload them as part of your app. And we convert the Lab 4 app to use Firebase in the lab exercise. Week 7, where it starts to get optional and the lab exercises are no longer assessed, we look at MapKit, we see how we can use location services, and we see how we can make use of geofencing to be notified when the user enters or leaves a location. And the lab exercise is a split screen app for storing and showing locations. In week 8, we see how we can use the device's camera and save images from it. We see how we can play and control audio playback and also stream audio, and then we do the same for video. And there's a couple of lab exercises, an offline photo library app and a simple messaging app. In week 9, we look at implementing gestures. We make use of the Swift Charts framework to build simple charts. We see how we can use mobile sensors like the compass, gyroscope, or accelerometer. And we have a very simple demo of AR Kit, augmented reality kit. And we have a lab exercise that is an app where you can spin and swipe through different images using gestures. In week 10, we look at page scroll views and how we implement them. We show how you can do local notifications. Oops, apologies. And also show custom URL schemes and deep linking to link directly to parts of your app that are not at the top level. And we have an app that shows Firebase authentication, storage, and Firestore for syncing. In week 11, we see how we can test our applications and write unit tests and understand why we should be doing this. And we look at how we can make use of third-party libraries. And there's no lab exercise in this week. Same with week 12, there's no lab exercise, but we look at how we can implement accessibility features. We look at how we can localize iOS apps, and I will demonstrate Apple's web interface for publishing applications to the App Store. Okay, thanks for watching.